Welcome to Rinkside Rundown, the podcast that puts you right in the heart of women's hockey. I'm your host, Chris Sinclair, and each week I'm on a mission to showcase the incredible women who are lighting up the ice across the globe. Get ready as I chat with rising stars, seasoned pros, and all the game changers making waves in the world of women's hockey that you won't find anywhere else. So, let's dive into the exciting world of women's hockey and make sure to click that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode. Welcome back to Rinkside Rundown. I'm your host, Chris Sinclair, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Jessica Cheung, an Ottawa, Ontario native and defender who will be heading off to Syracuse University in the NCAA. Jessica, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's really awesome to be here, doing this awesome podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the awesome podcast shout out. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for taking the time. We were talking a little bit before or off air just about, there's not really an off season for an athlete, and for you taking the time to hang out with me, I really appreciate that. So without further ado, you want to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. I love the enthusiasm. Let's do it. Every time we start, when there's a new guest on, always want to start with an origin story, right? It's how did you fall in love with hockey? What was it about hockey that really drew you to the sport and has kept you motivated throughout your young career?
Yeah, so I guess I was about like 5 or 6. I was kind of at that age where you start getting into different kinds of sports. And I guess hockey just really caught my eye in the sense that my older brother actually played. I have an older brother, he's 23. He was a goalie. And I'd always just kind of watch him. I'd go to his games sometimes. He's a goalie. So I just kind of watch him, and my dad would build rinks in the backyard. So I'd watch him out on the ice there, and I just kind of thought like, wow, like that's so cool. Like I kind of want to try that out. So next thing I know, my dad's putting me into like skating programs, buying me a whole set of gear, and yeah, it just kind of took off from there. So yeah.
Oh, I love that, and we're gonna get into specifically the family side of things in just a moment here as well. But what was it like do you remember, your first, I guess, memories of, lacing up those skates, hitting the ice, and what was it like for you? Like, was it immediate for you that you were like, yes, I love this?
Oh yeah, I think there's a video actually on my dad's YouTube channel. The first time I ever skated, it was on the backyard rink that he made. So yeah, he laced up my skates. I went out there, and the video is just really me like zooming around, like using this like skater buddy to keep me upright. And it was just so funny because I was just like skating around the ice and tripping and falling, but I just kept getting up and doing it again. I had a smile on my face. So I think just ever since that moment, my dad just kind of thought like, yeah, I might as well just take the chance and keep going with it. And I was completely fine with it too. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that obviously, like, it's certainly helpful that you, like, from day one, you just genuinely enjoyed it. So it wasn't like, it never felt like a chore. Like, not only did you look at your brother and like look at how he's skating, look at him out there, all that sort of stuff, but it was just like you actually hit the ice and you genuinely enjoyed it right from day one, right? And especially as you mentioned with family, what was it like early on to have that support and to have, especially, not everyone has the space to be able to build an ODR. Not everyone maybe has I was going to say the sort of the family tree, so to speak, about when it comes to hockey. But what was it like to have family and that was so supportive of you and so encouraging of you so early on in your hockey journey?
Oh, it just means a lot. Like ever since I first started playing, like my family, my dad, mom, brother have just made so many sacrifices, whether that be skipping work to take me to practice or my games and coming out to support me. And I think that definitely played a big role in like motivating me to kind of take it to the next level. Um, I think just looking up in the stands all the time, seeing them cheering me on, like that was like such a big kind of like game changer for me. It just like motivated me to work so much harder and just kind of not only do it for myself but also for my family too. Just given how much time and effort that they put into allowing me to just play the sport that I love.
Yeah, and this is why I often say that the reason that I actually don't like this question. I love this question about family is because I think it really people don't realize necessarily, they only see you on the ice, which you on the ice is absolutely a fantastic thing to see, but they don't necessarily also see the path that got you there, the support system that got you there. Could you maybe talk a little bit more, especially, and obviously we're kind of a little bit jumping ahead here, but especially as you're looking at this next stage in your career, could you maybe talk a little bit about, you kind of mentioned looking up in the stands, seeing family there. What has it meant for you to have family there through every step of this journey? And now, especially as you're taking this jump to the NCAA, and what that all has meant for you, especially as someone who, if it may feel like just yesterday you were still pushing around that skating buddy, right? And now look at you, right?
Yeah, yeah. For sure. My family, like, especially getting into this season here, like, it's definitely a big jump. And, I'm just jumping in with a bunch of new girls, and sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it is just to kind of adjust the speed and like the expectations that the coaches have. But I just know that my family is always there. Like, even if they're not currently living with me, they're a couple hours away. My parents, especially, have iterated to me so much that they're a phone call away at all times. Like they've told me they're still gonna come out to pretty much all the games that they can, despite the distance, and that just means so much to me. And yeah, then looking into like the future as well, like of like the PW and all that, like I know that I have expressed as that as being a goal, and they have just like completely supported me in that, and just have always like motivated me, told me that I can do anything I put my mind to, like as long as I put the work in, then it'll time will just kind of take its course there. So, yeah,
Oh, I love that. I love that. Nothing like having a great support system in there for you, especially as you continue challenging yourself moving forward throughout your career. And before we get into more of your career, I also do have to ask, what was it? So, what was it about defense that you were like, that's the position that I want to play? Was it ever, especially with your brother being a goaltender, was it also like, was there ever a consideration for you to like maybe play a different position, or was it always defense?
yeah, it was funny when I was younger. I wanted to be just like my brother. I wanted to be a goalie, but my parents were just kind of like, that's a lot of money to be dropping, especially having two goalies in the family. And I was like, you know what? Okay, we'll stick with player. And then yeah, I guess just once I got into like the higher levels of like U11, like U13, I just kind of felt like I took to more of a defensive playing style. I was more of like kind of like a stay-at-home defenseman, and I guess my coaches just kind of noticed that and let me kind of stick with that, and I've just always enjoyed it. I love just kind of being like the support system for the girls on the ice, and I love the like being able to protect my goalie and doing all that, leading breakouts. I just find it so much fun, and that just kind of stuck with me all the way up until now. So yeah.
Well, and I would say a fair compromise. If you wanted to be a goaltender, like the next best thing that you could be would be a defender.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's a good compromise in this case. So that's fair. Yeah, having two goaltenders in the family would be quite the expensive and endeavor. So I respect that. Um, Kind of, that actually is a good segue into often when it comes to being, and this can be more broadly for just being an athlete in general, or more specifically a hockey player, and this can be on or off the ice. But what were some of the challenges as you reflect on your career? You're embarking on this incredible next stage in your career. As you take a moment to reflect, what were some of those challenges that you've encountered throughout your career?
Yeah, there's definitely been like a wide range of challenges, like growing up and playing high level hockey, stuff like that. But I think the biggest one, or the most like prevalent one, that is, I feel like, not very talked about, is mental health. I think that personally, like I've struggled with like mental health and staying motivated to kind of keep doing my best, keep working, and especially like when it comes in terms of like performance. I've struggled with like anxiety regarding that. So kind of overcoming that and learning to kind of deal with it in a way that's healthier and that won't impact my performance. That's definitely been a challenge, but over time it's gotten so much easier. I've gotten a lot of support from my family, coaches, teammates, all that, which has definitely helped me kind of become the player I am today and be someone that is stronger than what's going on in my head. So
I have a lot of respect for that answer, and a lot of respect for that vulnerability. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's something, like you said, that's something that isn't maybe spoken about so outwardly, like internally within the team. Obviously, doctors, those sorts of things, they're going to know that sort of thing. But I think being able to highlight that is not only important for everyone, but it's also important for you. And how does it feel, knowing the journey that you had to go through with when it comes to mental health? How does it feel to have? I was going to say, how does it feel to have gone through that? You're still going through that, but how does it feel to have learned those things about yourself and to maybe have a different perspective on things when you know that mental health is something that you've struggled with?
yeah, I guess before, like a couple years ago, when I was just kind of learning the ropes, learning how to deal with that kind of thing, I definitely think like it's helped build my resilience and like really just helped me kind of conquer more difficult things down the road. And especially now, like I find that I've grown so much as a player in terms of learning kind of to grow around it and learning how to kind of deal with it in my own way and not letting it impact my performance as much. Um, I just think that that's a big thing. Like it just because I struggled with that before doesn't mean that it's always going to be that difficult. Like you just kind of learn to kind of take it in a different way and not see it as like a bad thing or something that inhibits like the kind of person you are, but something that kind of makes the person you are so much like bigger, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's advice for anyone, whether you're an athlete or not. So I think that's great. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that story. Um, when you, especially early on, but even maybe including right now, who were some of those role models or some of those influences that you look to, that you aspire to be, that you maybe like, ooh, I like the way that they play. I like the way that that person, maybe in this case, acts off the ice and is as a person. Who were some of those role models for you growing up and including right now?
Yeah. Growing up, I definitely had a few like role models in terms of like women's hockey players. I definitely looked up to Haley Wickenheiser, Mary Philip Poulin, who I still look up to now, and I just think they're such amazing hockey players, and they've just done so much to bring more recognition into women's hockey and just kind of shed a really positive light on it. When it comes to now, I find that one big role model that I definitely look up to is Erin Ambrose. She's a defenseman, played for Team Canada. I find that our playing styles together are pretty similar. She's definitely such a big leader when I watch her on the ice, and also kind of in the sense that she also struggled with similar things in terms of mental health, and she's spoken openly about it, which has kind of motivated me to feel a lot better about what I was dealing with at the time. I feel that when she spoke about it, it just made me feel a lot more understood and a lot more kind of better about myself and knowing that she was still able to accomplish as much as she did despite having those challenges. I just felt so much more motivated to kind of do more with my hockey career in having her as my role model. So
Yeah, I know it was interesting because as you were sharing that, I was immediately thinking how you know, when someone that you, a role model that you look up to, someone that you look up to, doesn't necessarily have to be a role model, but it's just someone you look up to, has struggled with the same things that you've struggled with, or at least similar things, but has achieved everything in this case that Ambrose has been able to achieve, you know, international success off the charts, PWHL, incredible career. It's only one season. We're going into season two, but still an incredible first season. And then not to mention all of her other accolades. What is it? Could you maybe talk a little bit more about seeing that success on the ice and knowing all of the things that she had to overcome? You mentioned that it's motivating and inspiring, but could you maybe talk a little bit more about, like, more specifically, how that made you feel, knowing that you really want to obviously overcome the same things?
Yeah, I really think that just knowing that she is kind of someone that has dealt with really similar things and kind of been able to make that make that jump, like to be able to play at such high levels, like still despite that, it really just makes me kind of think like really similar things about my own game as well. It just makes me kind of think that, you know, I'm able to kind of do the same things that she was able to do. And I think that her being able to deal with what she did, it kind of really helped me shape my dreams as well, with achieving just as much greater things as she did as well, in terms of getting to this level that I've gotten to right now at Syracuse, and also just beyond that, maybe Team Canada again, or even more like PWHL. And yeah, I just think like with her sharing that, it also shows like not only hockey players like me, but just like all athletes in general that mental health and really just like having challenges in your life doesn't like define who you are as a player. It just kind of builds you up and is able to kind of show you that you're able to overcome those difficulties and like thrive in whatever environment that you're in. So
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's such a good story. Um, as we, you know, as we look, kind of, you know, continue, I guess, continue to reflect, but also look forward a little bit here too. When it comes to giving back as an athlete, that's a really important piece of being an athlete. Is it isn't just what you do on the ice, it's what you do off the ice as well, in your community, through different organizations, different events, things like that. What does it mean to you to be able to give back to the community, to be able to connect with the community, especially as someone who was, you know, you're an Ottawa native, you got to play for the Senators, so you're in your hometown, giving back to your hometown. What does that mean for you?
yeah, I think giving back is so important, especially when it since it's giving back to those that have kind of helped shape who you are as for me an athlete. Like I've been kind of playing for Canada pretty much my entire life almost. I started out in U9 as a little 7, 8 year old playing competitive hockey for the first time, and just the support that I got there from my coaches, just trying to help me develop my skills and all that, and whoever else, such as parents, volunteers that put so much work into the teams that I grew up on. It just really helped me. It really shaped myself as a player and really just kind of helped push me to the next level, in terms of all the time that they put into the team, how dedicated they were, and how much they actually cared about the players and the association. So yeah, giving back was is just so important to me. And I was actually able to do like an ambassadorship with younger Canada Rangers teams, with like the teams that I ended up growing up on. I was able to do that last season, which was so much fun. It was so great to kind of see like the younger generation and just kind of give back to my community in the sense that I'm sharing my own experiences growing up with them, and maybe giving them some motivation and just like allowing them to kind of see what it takes to kind of get to that next level, and kind of allowing them to see all the opportunities that they can get, if they continue on their path of playing competitive hockey. So
So I was going to ask you what your some of your favorite experiences have been, but let's start with the maybe a little bit, obviously a bit more of a recent experience. Talk more about the the ambassadorship and all those sorts of things, and what again, just what it means to give back. Like what was that, like more specifically, what went into that, what was it all about, and then what did you maybe take away personally from that experience, or those experiences rather?
Yeah. So the past 2 seasons I've had with the Lady Sens, there basically throughout the year we get assigned a team, a younger Canada Rangers team. I think the last year I got given the U11 AA team. So it's like they're all like 9, 10, 11 year olds. And yeah, basically what we're supposed to do is just kind of go out a couple times during the season to their practices, maybe show up to a couple games or two, and yeah, just kind of show our support in that way. So me and two other girls on the team would just kind of show up to their practices, run the practices, give some like pointers to the girls, and just kind of connect with them in that way. Share our stories a bit like that, and yeah, the idea is really just to kind of show them just their options, like moving into the future, and the fact that the Lady Sens um, organization there exists, and it's just a great place to aspire to be if you want to keep going in that competitive kind of route. So yeah, we were able to do that a couple times during the year. The girls loved it. The girls were just always looking forward to us coming out to their practices, watching them play, connecting with them, and whatnot. So I think that giving back in that sense was just awesome. And that experience was just great just to see the younger generation and how they're continuing to develop, and just um, how much kind of future aspirations they're able to kind of achieve, especially being that generation that's growing up with the PWHL and all that recognition for women's hockey starting up, and how many options they have growing up and moving forward. So that definitely meant so much to me to be able to give back and inspire that the younger generation there.
Okay, so we talked about role models just a moment ago. But now I don't want to get too far away from this, because then I'm going to either forget to ask it, or it's just going to seem really out of place. So I want to ask it now. How does it feel knowing that you're also, so we talk about who are your role models, but how does it feel knowing that you're also a role model for the next generation? How does that make you feel, um, both, in terms of how you perform on the ice, but also the kind of character and kind of person that you want to be?
Yeah, I think it's really awesome that people see me as a role model. It means a lot, especially since the people that I look up to just have such amazing qualities, and just there's just so much reason to look up to them in terms of how hard they work, the kind of person they are, and how much impact that they have, and knowing that there are people that may have me as like a role model, just knowing that that could be a possibility, that means a lot. Just I've put a lot of work in, and it's nice to kind of see that the little things are being recognized, and yeah, it's just really nice to know that I still have support even from individuals that I may not know or that are younger than me. Like it means a lot, especially to have that, to know that I've had like an impact on those younger generations.
Yeah, it must feel incredible. It must feel a little bit surreal at times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, so as I had mentioned off the top, and I've mentioned a couple of times now, born and raised in the nation's capital, and you've had the opportunity to play in front of friends, family, all those sorts of things with the Ottawa Lady Senators. We've touched on it a little bit, but I really want to know, what does it actually mean? I mean, not only that you're, and I never like to make this comparison, but I'm going to do it. You get to wear the Sens jersey, right? Um, and growing up in the area, putting on those colors, being out in front of friends and family, what does that experience really feel like for you? And again, we talked about surreal just a moment ago, but is it kind of surreal as well in this kind of situation?
Oh, it really is. Wearing that Sens jersey every game, being able to put it on and proudly represent it to whoever's around there in Ottawa, and whoever else is going to come out and watch. It just means a lot, especially since in the Ottawa area, that's kind of like the highest level you can get to for minor hockey. So it's just such a privilege all the time to wear it and be able to represent kind of our city in terms of minor hockey and be able to, show younger generations and like friends, family that women's hockey is really just it's incredible to watch, even if it's locally, and yeah, you just meet so many awesome people through being able to wear this jersey, and I've met so many lifelong friends that I've grown up with, and having grown up in Ottawa, and it's just been awesome to wear it the past 3-4 years. So
Let's expand on that a little bit. Let's talk about what the impact that playing for the Lady Sens has had on you. How is that program helped to shape you as a player, but also as a person, especially as you look at now, taking that next step into the NCAA?
yeah, it's taught me so much, especially at the junior level. When I first joined, in my first year, I was, I think, the youngest player on the team, and it was just such a big jump because I had gone from U15 to U22. So big jump, like a lot of older, bigger girls, and I think it was just great because the expectations were set in like right off the bat. The first practice, the moment you step on the ice, there's just another level of expectation of in terms of your work, the work effort that you put in, just paying attention to little details, in terms of like just doing the little things, stopping at the net, finishing your stride, shooting, and all that stuff. I think that especially at that higher level, like the values are very set in stone and they're taken very seriously, which I think was a real game changer in helping me kind of develop my game. So yeah, like the captains during my first year, they definitely made sure that everyone was kind of meeting the expectations, and that no matter what role you're playing on the ice, like it matters.
I think when you have a chance to reflect on these kinds of experiences, and especially wearing that jersey, being in front of your friends and family, being a part of such a great program, really probably does, like, you maybe in the moment you don't necessarily know. You're like, oh, okay, I got to go to the gym, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to all those sorts of things. But then once you actually reflect on it, you're like, this actually had a really big impact on me. So it's totally fine. I wouldn't know how to put into words the impact that these sorts of experiences had on me. So I that's kind of the impression that I got from you, is just how much more than just hockey this program offered you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's definitely fair to say.
Yeah. Okay. And so, when you think about continuing this conversation around the sort of the Ottawa Lady Senators, your coach Turpinen, there we go. I thought I'd get there eventually. Has been quoted as saying that you are, quote, a talented player who works hard on her craft, both on and off the ice. The assistant captain's team-centered mindset shows on the ice and in her ability to support and uphold her teammates. When you hear that, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. Coach Turpinen, she's been part of my life for a while. She's been my coach, starting out in spring hockey since I was about 14 years old. So I've been with her the past 4 years, and it's just really great to kind of see that the little things in my game are being recognized in that sense. Especially since I really try hard to be the best player I can be. I try really hard to practice the values that she's instilled in the team, and it's nice to know that she's definitely kind of recognized that, and also just trusted me to play the role of the assistant captain in my final year, and have that confidence in me to make an impact on the team.
And now, a word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by sports nutritionist Melissa Buffunos of MB Performance Nutrition. As a former competitive hockey player turned nutritionist, Melissa's mission is to help the next generation of hockey players optimize their diets and health so they can perform their best both on and off the ice. Ready to dominate on the ice? Melissa's new course, The Hockey Nutrition Blueprint, is available now. If you're serious about learning how nutrition can impact performance and building actionable nutrition strategies based on your unique needs as an elite hockey player, learn more and sign up at melissabufunos.com/course. That's MELISSABOUFOUNOS.com/course. And make sure to use code Rinkside to save $50 off the regular price. Thank you to Melissa Bufunos for sponsoring this episode. And now, back to the show. I promise I'm going to get off of the Ottawa Lady Senators topic in just a second. But I need to know, being an assistant captain in that program, going through that process, or like through the program as you did, what did it mean to get that letter? And what do you think it's going to do, having more of a leadership? I mean, it's just, a lot of people say it's just a letter, but there does come with it a little bit of added responsibility. What do you think also it'll help, or how do you think it would help? It's going to help you heading into NCAA?
Yeah, so when I first got that letter, she expressed to me, and I knew right off the bat that there would be a lot of expectations that I would have to meet in terms of just like leading the team in a good way, and just making sure that all the team values, the core values, are instilled within all the players, and making sure everyone's on the same page in that sense. So yeah, I was both thrilled, but I also knew that with getting that letter comes a lot of responsibility as a veteran, in terms of kind of leading the team, and making sure that when the veterans kind of leave, that the next group of girls will just know what to do for the following season. And sorry, what was the second half of the question?
Just that, how do you think it's going to, like taking on that added leadership, those leadership responsibilities, how do you think it's going to translate to your time at the NCAA?
Right. I think it definitely did help me kind of make this transition. I feel that the core values with the Lady Sens and those of Syracuse are so similar in terms of playing together, playing as one, being one big group, one big team, a family, and in that sense. Just those really translated to one another. And I find that I'm able to really kind of understand the values with Syracuse, and I'm able to kind of follow them without being confused about any parts of that and whatnot. And I just find that having that role, having that leadership role on the Sens, really kind of added more confidence to my game, in terms of knowing that my coaches and teammates have trust in me to be the player that they need me to be. And it's definitely kind of built my confidence, and also just heightened my skill as well to prepare me for the collegiate level. So it's had a big impact for sure.
Yeah, and you are absolutely going to crush it. As we look at, progressing through your career, I'd be remiss if I didn't also highlight you've won some awards. You've won some medals, which is incredible. Let's highlight some of those for a moment, and then we're going to kind of reflect on them as a whole. So you had the opportunity, you played and won silver back in 2022-23 with the Senators, with the Lady Senators. You won a gold medal with Team Ontario Red at the Canadian U18 Championships, and you also represented your country. You won bronze in the National Women's U18 Championships earlier this year. When you think back to those experiences, first of all, what was it like? Let's just start with what was that like? What was it like to just even compete, but also obviously to win?
Oh yeah, all three of those experiences that I was able to share were just incredible. Just kind of being on whatever stage it was, but just being at that final stage, being in the finals, or the bronze medal game even, it's just awesome. Especially when you're kind of in that end stage of the tournament. The energy is so high within the team, so that's obviously a big playing factor in motivating everyone to kind of come together and just really play as a team for one last game. So yeah, that's definitely a big thing that I do remember from all three events. yeah, when it comes to the national championships, that was a crazy game. I remember the stands were packed. I remember the energy was high. We were all we were being so positive and just so hyped up on the bench, which definitely I think increased the energy going on within the game and keeping us motivated even when we were down and being able to fight back and overall just get the win. And I just think that overall the energy and just all the positivity and just the stick taps from the teammates and everyone just kind of hyping you up. I think that was definitely a big thing that I do take away from those tournaments and just going into the next season here. I think energy will definitely be a big playing factor in our success.
Okay, I need to know as well. You had mentioned some of the takeaways, and I think those are really, I think, great takeaways from those experiences. I also want to know, like, what was it like away from the ice in those, especially as you're gearing up for, bronze medal, silver, whatever, or gold, ideally, but whatever the metal it is, color it is, all those sorts of things. What was it like off the ice, away from the ice, for you and for the teams during those experiences?
Yeah, so I guess leading into the games or even just the week or weekend leading into that, I find that everyone is together as a group. We spent a lot of time together, especially with like the nationals and playing with Team Canada. Since it's short-term competition, you kind of really have to build that chemistry even off the ice and just connect with each other as much as possible. So I do recall that we spent so much time together as a group, whether that just be going on team walks or spending times in each other's room or just hanging around. We just spent a lot of time together, just connected. And I feel like through that experience of us just always being together, um, it just kind of allowed us to come together in a game, like where it mattered most. Like it allowed us to come together as a team and trust each other, knowing that we have each other's backs, knowing that we are all teammates and we're kind of like a family now. I think that really that off ice kind of interactions really just contributed to our overall success on the ice when come game time.
Yeah, and you know, I realize now I didn't say congratulations on winning any of those medals, so it's a little belated now. But congratulations, it's super impressive. Looking
Thank
at
you.
that award cupboard is gonna get filled up pretty quickly, I'm sure. Um, when you like thinking back to your time specifically with Canada, what did it mean to put on that jersey for the first time?
Oh, it meant so much to me. It was always a goal from the moment I started playing hockey to play for Team Canada. It always just kind of seemed like a dream that was like in the stars or whatever, but like to know that I made the team and to know that I've made it to where I've always wanted to be and putting on that jersey and like knowing that the leaf is proudly like on my chest is it was just the most surreal experience. And I remember the first time I ever put the jersey on before the game against the U.S. I went to the mirror to fix my hair, do my braid, and I just like that's when it really kind of clicked to me. I saw myself in the mirror and I was like, wow, like I actually made it. And like just to know that my hard work really paid off, like all the times I've spent on the ice, all the hours I've spent off the ice just have all just helped me and allowed me to kind of reach the goal that I've always kind of wanted to get to. So
Yeah, and
definitely.
and when you think back to way, way, way back to the beginning, right? Like you've obviously had a huge passion for hockey since for as long as you can remember, but not if it must also feel so incredible to know that you started off with this is just a dream. You're starting off. You're playing on the ODR, with the skate buddy, all those sorts of things, and now you're playing for your country. Does it? How long do you think it took for it to really actually sink in, and you were like, you were able to be like, okay, I got to get back into this game. I got to forget about the fact that I finally achieved my goal. Like, does it ever really sink in, or when would it have sunk in for you? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I feel like when I first got there for the camp, I feel like it hadn't really sunk in yet. I was just kind of like, oh, it'll be a great week. Like, I get to kind of meet these amazing players from all over Canada and play with them. But I feel like when it really sunk in, it would probably have to be after the coaches had got me into the room and told me, you've made the team. I know I like took a second to kind of process it, and then I was like, "What?" And then ever since then I was ecstatic. And then I think when it really clicked was when I walked into the room. I was one of the last players to be told that I had made the team. So when I walked into the room, the girls who had already made it were in there, and they all like screamed for me, they cheered for me, and they really welcomed me in that sense. Everyone's just so excited to be there, and I think that's really when it clicked for me that I was like, wow, like I made it. Like these are all like the top players in Canada, and I get to play alongside them. Like that's incredible. So yeah, that was definitely the moment where I was like, wow, like I did it, you know.
Achieve my goal, which is always fantastic. And once again, congratulations. Congratulations never seems like enough. But it should be such a proud moment for you. So I will say congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. As we continue your, the journey through your career, if you will. As I had mentioned off the top, you've committed to going to Syracuse. You've mentioned it a couple of times as well. I want to know, especially for a lot of us who don't get the opportunity to go through that process of selecting. Yeah, you get to choose your university, but there's also that's just for the academics. You're also looking at a university that fits or that maybe would push and challenge you athletically as well. Could you talk more about what went into your decision to attend Syracuse and why NCAA as opposed to U Sports?
Yeah, for sure. The first time I ever met the coaches, Coach Brittany there, she actually was coaching like a tournament. There was like this um, little tournament going on, and they had university coaches come out and kind of coach teams um, for that weekend there. And I guess my team got assigned with her to be my coach, and I just found that her coaching style was really good. I found that it was really similar to kind of the coaching style um, back in Ottawa with my other team there, and which I really enjoy. She kept the energy positive. She was encouraging us when we got off the ice and wasn't afraid to give pointers either. So that was the first thing I really noticed. But then once she scouted me and then started taking interest in me, I found that when she started explaining the core values of the team, I felt that they really kind of aligned with my own values and also the values that were being expressed within the Lady Sens as well. Just playing fast, playing hard, playing together. That was kind of the motive that she instilled within the team. And I just thought that that was really great. And I really thought that that's where I would, fit in best. And once I went on my visit, I loved every part of Syracuse. I got to meet some girls. They were super nice. And I just felt at home once I got there. And I knew that that would be, I could see myself being there for the next 4 years. So.
Yeah, yeah, and it must also be nice that it's like not super far from home as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah, that's another
Yeah,
bonus for sure.
yeah, yeah. What went into your decision to go NCAA as opposed to staying in Canada and going through U Sports, or was it just always I'm going NCAA and that's kind of it?
Yeah, when I first started my recruitment process, it was kind of all over the place. I was just kind of exploring to see where I would just kind of gravitate into, but I just felt like I really wanted to have that experience playing in kind of another country, and I just find that the environment there is a little different. not kind of what I'm used to in Ottawa. So I really wanted to just kind of have that experience, meet new girls from wherever they came from. There's girls that we have from overseas and from the US, from Canada. We have girls from everywhere. So it's really awesome just to kind of see um, just like the diversity that we have within the team. And I just thought that that was kind of where I wanted to be, and just kind of to have that experience for
Right.
me.
And what are you most looking forward to once you actually hit the ice with Syracuse?
Well, I'm just looking forward to see where the team goes. I think that this team, we have a bunch of new players this year, so it's really kind of great to see us all coming together in the first practices we've had here, and I think that our group has a lot of potential. So I'm excited to see where that takes us, in terms of as we keep going in the season, and just having about all these new girls. It's awesome. So.
And as um, I'm sure you have many times reflected on your career, your journey to this point. What would be some advice that you would give for young girls who are, aspiring to be where you're at, aspiring to be, a part of the PWHL moving forward? What's some advice that you would share with them?
I guess my biggest piece of advice that I would share is to just always be a hard worker. Moving to next levels, higher levels requires a lot of hard work. And I know I've had my own setbacks with being cut from teams, and being told that I'm not good enough to make a team. But it's just in terms of having the mindset to not let that define you, and just to keep working hard despite any challenges you may face. Like nothing's just gonna come to you, and it just you just need a lot of hard work and good work ethic to kind of get to that point. So I guess just also just kind of staying on the grind, just making sure that you're doing something each day, like a little something, whether that be stick handling for 5-10 minutes or shooting in your driveway, just making sure that you're staying dedicated, and just having your eye on whatever goals that you want to accomplish in the future. So.
I love it. I love it. And once again, advice that anyone can take to heart. So I appreciate that. That's fantastic. And we've spoken about the PWHL. Um, Obviously, here in Ottawa, it is off the charts. It is widely viewed as one of the best spots in the league to watch a game. Such a I was going to make a pun about the Charge name, but I'm not going to do it. What are your thoughts on this inaugural season, and where do you think, or how do you think this, especially this inaugural season, has really, how do you think it's really helped women's hockey?
I think it's had just such a big impact on women's hockey, especially in my generation and even younger generations too. I recall just being out to a couple of the games, and both the games I went to, it was just awesome just to see all the immense support that was kind of put into the team, and how many people want to come out and support the Ottawa team, and just women's hockey in general. I just love seeing all the recognition it's getting, all the support it's getting, and I think that that is really going to be a good factor that'll motivate the younger generation to kind of know that this is an option for them moving forward, and that if they work really, really hard, then that's definitely somewhere that they can get to in the future. And in terms of the future of women's hockey, I think that having this kind of league be a thing. I think that as it keeps developing, as players kind of get new players introduced into the league, and as old players leave their impact there, I think that the league itself will definitely take off. I think that there's a lot of hope for this league, and a lot of um, like there's a great play, like it can definitely improve, and just build off of where it started here. So yeah, it's just great to see where it started, and where it can lead to in the future. And it's really exciting.
All right, I have to ask the question. Speaking of the future, do you see yourself playing? Is this a goal of yours to be drafted in the PWHL?
It's definitely a goal. Just kind of like how my goals were when I was younger to play for Team Canada. It's another goal that I have for myself now. I know that playing at the collegiate level definitely Um, it like gives me the ability to be recognized potentially in the future, and if I work hard and kind of stay committed to growing as a player, I think that it's definitely somewhere that I would like to be in the future. So yeah, I'm definitely just gonna keep working hard and just see where that takes me.
Well, we're going to be cheering you on because, especially if you get drafted into play in front of Ottawa, I think that would be a fantastic experience. So we're definitely going to be rooting for you. Can't wait for that.
Thank you.
And so, as we kind of wrap things up today, um, we get to the fun, random questions segment of the show that it's still a working title, but it's 20 questions, but not 20 questions. It doesn't really roll off the tongue as well as I'd like it to, but like I said, it's a working title.
Oh yeah.
The crack team here at Rinkside Rundown has put together a list of, I think, like 7 or 8 questions that are kind of random, that are gonna, there's gonna be some really profound questions, and I'm sure equally profound answers. And then there are also some goofy ones. And so, are you ready to take the test?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. We're going to start off with one of the profound questions. It's a heavy hitter. Okay.
Okay.
What are you most proud of from this past season?
This past season with the Lady Sens, or
Yes.
this,
Yeah.
this all
Yeah.
right. I think what I'm most proud of is just kind of seeing my teammates improve. We had a really new team coming into that year, so just to kind of see where everyone started out and seeing where we've ended, and how much each of my teammates have improved, I think that's just awesome. Seeing how the work that they've put in all year has paid off, and how it's definitely been evident in the team success as we kept playing there. So that was definitely really nice to see.
Love that. I love that. As spoken like a true leader. How would you describe your style of play?
Um, oh, that's a hard question, but I
Oh,
think I think I'd say my style of play is um, unpredictable sometimes. Not in the sense that I'm like doing random things, but sometimes I just find that I'm able to kind of use deception to my advantage a lot. I love doing this one skill where I just kind of sell a pass and then do a tight turn the other way, and sometimes it'll work pretty well. So definitely unpredictable, and also just an overall confident player. I find that when I'm confident in my playing style, I'm able to do so much more and have a bigger impact on my team. Just be able to make more plays and just allow my team to connect in that sense.
okay. Great. I love that. And, I kind of mentioned it off the top as well, but for an athlete, there's never really an off season. Let's be honest. Like, you may get like a week off or something like that, but there's always new training programs. There's always, you're hitting the gym, nutrition, all these sorts of things. For some as well, you're, getting ready to move and all those sorts of things. But for the one and only Jessica Chung, how or what has this off season look like for you, and how has it changed maybe and evolved throughout your career?
Yeah, so I find that this season, like specifically this past summer, I was definitely super, super committed to my off season, especially knowing that I had to make that jump from junior hockey to collegiate, which is a big jump. Like the girls here are a lot faster, a lot bigger, stronger. So I knew that I really had to, if I wanted to kind of fit right in and just have a seamless kind of transition, I really had to, work on that kind of stuff. So I did a lot of strength training. I had an amazing personal trainer at Shift Performance, which is the gym that I'm at, and he has done so much to create a program that has helped me succeed and has helped me really build muscle and strength to kind of be at this level. And yeah, I've done a lot of off season training as well in terms of skills. I wasn't on the ice as much, but I did a lot of like things in my driveway. I was just doing shooting whenever I could. I was doing stick handling, just kind of doing little things throughout my day to keep kind of on that off-season grind. And yeah, I found that it definitely paid off. I definitely feel more confident in my transition here. And yeah, my off-season has been good this past summer. And in the sense that it's kind of evolved, I definitely feel that it depends on what I need to work on a specific summer. There's always kind of things that coaches have brought to my attention as the season ends, and I definitely just try to focus on those things, as I go into that off season. So it kind of varies based on what my coaches tell me, but yeah.
Okay, fair. And what I really like is that you actually just described the advice you had for younger women looking to get into hockey. You're actually living it. So you're more than just words, right? Like it's still a grind, whether it's the season, whether it's the off season. It's always going to be, you got to be focused on the grind, what you need to improve, what you need to learn upon, what you can grow upon, all those sorts of things. So I love it. You're not just, it's not just lip service. You're actually saying you're living it. So that's mad respect right there. What is your go-to pre-game meal?
Ooh. Yeah, I'm definitely pretty picky with my meals before games. My go-to would probably be spaghetti, maybe throw some marinara sauce on there, and just like some grilled chicken and Caesar salad, something simple like that. It's got all the groups I need, and yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
my
always I always ask that question and then I'm immediately regretting it because now I'm just starving. So um, during the season, who owned the dressing room music and what was played most often? Do you remember?
Ooh, last year, it'd probably have to be my friend Olin. She's a really good taste in music, especially kind of given like the energy that's within the room. Like if it's before a game, she'll throw on some super hype music, maybe some rap, some pop music, and she really knows kind of what to put on to get the team going. I know that before our games, we would always play the song Footloose, and then we had this little dance that we do, so that would definitely get us going. She was kind of responsible for keeping that consistent for each before each game. So yeah, props to her to always being able to get the team energy up and all that. So
Love it. I love that. And speaking of music, now this is shifting directly to you more specifically. If you could listen to only one song for the rest of your life, who would it be? And again, the caveat is always you don't have to listen to it all the time, but if you're going to play the music, if you're going to play music, it has to be this song.
oh, that's a hard one. I don't know if I'd rather just not listen to music at all. I think I'd just get
So you
bored
don't
of
have to make that decision.
it. Yeah, maybe I love country music. I really like country music. I'd probably have to go with a song from Morgan Wallen. Maybe More Than My Hometown. I really love that song. I don't know if it would change if I listened to it too much, but I do like that song. That's probably what I
It's
would choose.
Yeah, it's a really good song to choose. So yeah, I equally love myself some country. So yeah, good call on that one. What is something that remains on your bucket list?
Ooh. I love to travel, so it'd definitely be to probably travel overseas again. Maybe revisit Switzerland just for more of like a tourist kind of thing, just to see more monuments and whatnot. I'd also really love to go to Greece sometime. Yeah, those are probably the two places I'd love to visit and check off my bucket list.
I love it. Okay, what's something that people may not know about Jessica Chung?
Ooh. Um, well, I actually used to do track when I was like younger. I used to do long jump, and I did pretty good at that. But yeah, I guess I just kind of grew out of that when I started playing hockey more.
Yeah, I was gonna actually not that I want to keep asking follow-up questions, but how long did you do that? Was it like, were you able to win some, awards? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was more of like a high school thing,
Yeah.
playing on school teams and stuff. I played on the long jump team for my like elementary school for all my 2 years, and then in middle school, I played on the team as well. Um, I broke the school record, which was pretty cool. That's something that I guess I'm proud of in that sense. But yeah,
Okay, that's awesome. That's also something people may not know about you.
yeah.
And lastly, as we wrap things up today, what is something that continues to motivate and inspire you? And you can do this either personally, well, I guess it could be personally and or professionally, however you want to take it.
Yeah, I guess something or maybe someone that inspires me is definitely my dad. He has just been such a big impact in my success. He has made me kind of keep working even on the hard days where I didn't feel motivated to maybe go to practice or go to the gym. He's always kind of reminded me what my ultimate goal was, and knowing that it takes work to get there. um, he's done so many sacrifices just to kind of get me to where I am. And yeah, he's definitely someone that has made such a big impact in where I
Love
am.
it. Yeah, love that. Nice little shout out to dad.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's fantastic. And um, you know, unfortunately, the time in the show has come where we have to say goodbye. But I want to say once again just how much I appreciate you taking time out of your busy off season to join the show, to answer my questions, to have a great time. Yeah, I just it's been great to be able to connect with you and to be able to hear your story. Truly inspiring, and I know that people are going to watch and listen to this, and they're going to feel the exact same way. So, Jessica, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Good.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and there you have it for Jessica Cheung. I'm Chris Sinclair, and this has been Rinkside Rundown. Cheers.